Hey, what's up, y'all? Taurus here, TaurusBeats.com. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. Today I'm actually going through and looking at some of the velocities as far as a particular piano freestyle that I did. This piano improvisation is one of the songs that I put together for the ECLIPSE album. And today I'm just going to walk you through just what I do when I actually make the piano improvisation and come back through and adjust the velocities. So today we're going to look at velocities within reason, and basically any DAW that you use, you want to get to understand velocities and how velocities work when you're dealing with note playing. Even if you're programming notes, drawing them in, or if you're hand playing like me, velocities are very important, especially when you're hand playing stuff and you start to hear in like the piano instrument where there are some very high velocities that cause some real ear-piercing frequencies. One of the first things I want to draw your attention to is just looking at the velocities themselves. This is a piano freestyle, basically a piano improvisation. In case you don't know, if you haven't followed any of the videos that I've done before, I do piano improvisations all the time. As a matter of fact, all of the songs that I create that have a piano main part in them, I'm just improvising on the piano. This is what the piano freestyle looks like, as a whole. This is the piano melody track right here. It's just me freestyling from beginning to the end of the track. I do have cuts here now because I just put the cuts in them in order to work with one segment at a time. But for the most part, when I first start out and I do a piano improv, I just record from start to finish, and whatever comes out, that's what you get in the track. And that's why it's called a freestyle. It's nothing rehearsed, there's nothing practiced, there's nothing written. It's just I play the beat and it goes. So looking inside of the piano freestyle, just looking at any of these, you can tell right away, just looking at the velocity levels. The highest velocity level is 127. Kick drum is usually the only thing that I want to be that high. Everything else, especially when it comes to piano, I don't really want to see anything above this 112 line. And the reason being is because once you get that high as far as velocity, it's almost like you're pounding, you're really pounding on the key, and you want to get the actual strike of the hammer on the piano string. Rarely do I really want that. Sometimes I do. It depends on the song that I'm doing. It depends on, like I said, if I'm freestyling, it just naturally comes because I'm not a pianist and I don't have the fingering technique that's necessary to be able to do the dynamics that I really want to do. Let's take a listen. This particular note, I believe, is two things that you got to pay attention to, especially with the piano. One is the velocity, of course, because the velocity is really hard. You can see this at 127 here. Zoom in so you can see it. So you can see that velocity of that one note is at 127. But also the thing to pay attention to is the frequency. That frequency is harsh to the ears. And there are a lot of piano notes that even if you play them low, you play them at a low frequency, the frequency is so harsh that you got to make sure that you keep it low, and you use EQ and stuff like that to kind of like dampen how it affects the rest of the song. Okay, so that's just like a little sidebar, but here's what I do as far as dealing with the frequencies. Trimming the hedges. I just call it that because I'm cutting down what I see here. And I'm going to use this as a moment to actually take you into a sidebar. Remember that I am what you call low vision or vision impaired. So I don't see through my central vision the way other people do. As a matter of fact, my central vision is blocked. So I use my peripheral vision to see everything. And I'm able to do what I do with reason using, shades and things like that. I keep a build cap on to kind of keep the light low. And it allows me to actually make things out. But really, I don't see what's directly in front of me in the circle. I see the peripheral. So when I do want to see something that's happening, I usually look off to the side in order to see through my peripheral vision. I'm sharing all that with you because this is interesting to learn these things through somebody else's perspective. And my perspective, I'm giving you as someone who is low vision or visually impaired. And just so you can understand that, hey, even if you do have a challenge, you can still do a whole lot of things. As a matter of fact, I started getting better at playing piano or doing these types of songs when I started losing my vision. So I just want to pass that on to you. If you come to a challenge later on in life, life has its challenges. And that's what life is a journey. And you're going to come up against obstacles from time to time. Hey, your passion won't let you quit. It's something I keep saying, but really, that's what I live. My passion for music won't let me quit. It won't let me stop trying to make this music. So I just want to pass that on to you. No matter how bad or how poor my vision gets, you know, Lord willing, I'll still be able to make this music, you know, and I'm going to keep trying to do it however I can. What I call trimming the hedges is just this. It's just basically looking at this, and all I'm going to do is I grab in this particular area, and I'm just, you see what I'm doing? I'm just using my mouse, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab, I'm pressing down, and I'm just selecting the ones at that level and above. So really, I'm looking at the level at this line right here. This is like the 112 line. So everything above the 112 line, I want to grab. So anything, any note that goes above that 112 line, that's what I'm grabbing, okay? I'm grabbing those notes right there. So I've highlighted those notes. And now what I'm getting ready to do, so you can actually see it, I'm going to show you that the notes are highlighted. You see how those notes are highlighted there? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go in, and you see the velocity, the average for all of them is at 127. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click down. So up there where it says VEL, velocity, that's what it is, and it had that number, 127, I'm bringing them down. I'm just basically, I keep lowering down until I get beneath that 112 line, that 112 line. Now listen to that same area again when it hits those notes, that one, especially that one note that was ear piercing. So it's not piercing anymore. Now it just sounds like it's right in a regular normal range of being played. See that? Okay, so now we get into the next section, which has that first note right there. And that first note is at what? 124, it says. So that, again, you hear how that first note, that 124 note, I really don't want that. So all I'm going to do is do the same thing in this section here, is I'm going to go ahead, get in that section, and I'm going to grab every note or select every note that's above that 112 line. And that, the way I'm doing it is I'm just basically doing a mouse selection, holding down my left mouse button while I scroll across. You see, I'm scrolling across, and I'm basically hitting all of those notes that are just above that 112 line. I select them all, and those are the notes that are selected. And you see where it says that average note is 124 is usually the first note it picks up. I'm just bringing them all down. What this is doing is I'm bringing the notes down velocity-wise, all of them relatively. And this is why I do it this way. I don't just trim all of the notes at a particular level or set all of the notes to be equal, because it doesn't sound good when you just make all of the notes uniform, especially when it comes to piano or some kind of instrument where there's an articulation or there is a dynamic that you want to have. But by grabbing those notes and bringing them down like I am, I'm bringing the notes down. They're still played the same way. It's just that all of the velocities are brought down together in their relative, I guess you would say their relative range. Since I know what I want as far as trimming the hedges, now I'm just zooming back out, this is the entire piano freestyle here. This is the entire thing. And now I can look at all of it, and I can trim the hedges, so to speak, of the entire song. And all I'm going to do, because I know my range, I want my range to be above the 112 line. I'm just going to grab everything in the entire song that's above that line or above that area. So I'm selecting all of them. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier with the smaller group, and I'm just going to bring them down beneath that 112 line, okay? Now, what this does is you have to be careful about is that it does change some of the character of the original piano freestyle, or it does change the character of the original performance. Why? Because those velocities, you know, when they were played originally, those velocities, when you listen to it, that's the way it was played. So it may have sounded pretty good, even with the high velocities and the ear-piercing velocities. Sometimes that sounds okay. I know some people are like, what are you talking about? That never sounds good. Again, as a person who is creating the art, it may be that person's intention to be ear piercing. I do it a lot actually with my piano freestyles. When I'm doing, piano improvisations, the thought that I'm having or the emotion that I'm expressing, the expression of what I'm doing at that moment, I want it to be, I'm yelling. I'm yelling it at the top of my lungs as if I'm singing it. And that's what I'm doing with the piano. As a person who is creating something and expressing something that I feel, that's what I want. But I also understand that just because I want that, it doesn't mean that a person's ears can handle it. There's always a balance, with me at least, as someone who's performing something. This is an original performance of mine. It is something that I cannot duplicate. Me personally, I can't duplicate. I can't sit down and perform these piano freestyles again. I can't. It's a one-time deal for me. And because it is, I just play what I feel. I play whatever comes to mind. I play what I feel. And you're getting, pretty much, from my perspective, you're getting the purest representation of that performance, of that expression of me. And that's why it's so important and so vital for me as the original artist. Is like you've just got an original expression of mine. Nothing scripted. I didn't try to script it out. I didn't try to write it out and perform it better. No, it was just me sitting down and it's like, this is Taurus. This is Taurus at this moment in this track with this beat right here, right now. That's what you get. The only editing that you see me doing is this, where I trim the hedges and I bring those notes down so somebody else, if they want to listen to it, it doesn't hurt their ears. But I always keep the original performance. So this template that I'm working in, this is a copy of the original that I'm working in. I hope you understand that. I hope you get that as a tip. That's one of the tips that I'm going to leave you with right here. This right here is a copy. This is 2019, 12/17. So I have a copy. The original was done I think it was 12/04. So it was December 4th when I actually made this particular track. So I always save a copy before I go in and actually do any edits to it. So my original is always preserved. Again, why is that important? I know this is a sidebar. I know this is a long sidebar. Because my original performance is so special to me. It's like, I don't know how to explain it to folks out there. I'm going to do the best that I can here. Because I don't play piano, because I'm not a pianist and I can't perform and go back and replay stuff and, write notes and all that. I don't know how to do that. So when I sit down and these performances, they come, like I said, they come almost like out of the blue. And I'm just sitting there, and next thing you know, I'm playing a full song. This is all done at one sitting. It's not me going back and overdubbing and overdub. No, I just played all of this out, and it comes out in some kind of, it's almost like I was telling the story, but the way I told it, that's what I'm pointing out. The way that I told it is just as important as me playing the piano without knowing how to play the piano. The expression is the most important thing to me. The most important thing to me is the fact that I have captured something that I feel or something that I think inside in a way that I guess it's pretty awesome to think about. When I sit down and think about, I don't know how to play piano, so I'm not a pianist. I think about that stuff. Whenever I try to record something, I never get through it. But what I've started doing is I put just like I'm recording this video, I just tell the thing to record and I just let it run. All of a sudden, this happens. It's like this happens because I'm not thinking about this. I'm not thinking about video. I'm not thinking about any of that stuff. I'm just in the moment with the beat, with the music, and that's the expression of who I am. This is all important. I'm trying to pass on to you as someone who's watching these videos is that your expressions are being captured. You are capturing your expressions. See, the thing is that a lot of times we get wrapped up into making the beats and making the music and all that type of stuff and trying to get out there in the industry, making something for someone or making something so it can get it. No, you fail to realize that you have just created an expression of yourself. That is you. It's like, this is me. If you look at it, this is a little piece of me and it's expressed in a way to where I can't express that the same way ever again. That's why it's so vital and so important to me, because I don't know how to play piano and I don't know how to go back and, do all of the chord progressions and all that stuff together. One day I'm working toward it, but I don't know how to do that just yet. You see what I'm saying? So it's so precious to me. It's like capturing a snapshot or capturing a picture of yourself in time, space. Like, yo, that picture is so awesome. I can never capture that again in my life. That's what this is like. When you make a beat or when you make music, that's what I'm trying to get you to see, fam. I'm trying to get you to really perceive and understand. Your music making is not just about being successful or trying to reach a result of being the best or whatever. No, it's you as you're doing it. Do you see you? Start to see you. This is you. You know what I'm saying? Your performances, you're performing all the time when you're sitting down. You're sitting down trying to figure out how to get the latest and the greatest, plugins and this, that, and the third. Because that's what they're training you to do that. You are falling into the whole training process of training you to, get the latest and greatest DAW, latest and greatest plugins. And then you got to buy version 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you got to get the latest and greatest for that. And all the while, you're doing all of that, but you're overlooking as you're doing that, the progression of you. Look at you. It's like, if you go back right now, like I said, I get on these soapboxes and these sidebars, but listen to me, if you will. If you go back and you listen to your beats, listen to your music, even the wackest ones when you first started out, go back and listen to your wackest beat. Listen to your wackest music. I'm talking about whack, completely whack, where you're like, I would never play that for anybody. Go back and listen to it. Go back and play it for yourself and give it a thorough listen. Listen to it for more than 5 minutes. Repeat it. Repeat it over and over again and listen to it. I don't care how bad it may sound to you now, but listen to it. Why? Because it's you. That was you in a moment in time, space. That was you. And it can never be repeated again. I'm just trying to help. If you can see that, then you can see from that point to where you are right now, even if that was your wackest beat. That was your wackest beat, You will never be that whack again. I know it sounds funny, but I'm serious, fam. Look, because if you see that, then you can see from wherever you started, even if it was last week, to where you are now, you see you progressing through time, space. And that's the beauty of music. Music is all about that. The whole framework of music is showing you the life journey. Maybe it's too deep. Maybe it's too deep. I'm just trying to help somebody see. If you understand what I'm saying, if you get this, please let me know. Because all I'm saying is, if you think about it, music by itself has given us a framework. It's literally like a framework that's showing you when you start that. I start this track at the beginning. Every note, every space in time, space. There's a ticking clock. Keep on going. Listen. Here's the click track. Every note, every space, every piece is progressing through time, space, from beginning to the end. And the beautiful thing about the music is for a song, when a song starts, from the time that it starts to it ends, those notes, the way it's played, even if it's the same note, is never played in the same time again. Now, you probably like, what are you talking about? You're in time. No, it is never played in the same space, time. It's never played on that particular time in existence ever again. Even if you repeat it, that means you're on another moment in time and you can never go back and play that same note again. Think about it. Music is doing that for us and is showing us how precious and how valuable everything that we do is. But we miss it. We miss it, fam. We miss it because we're looking at other stuff and we're so focused on other things. Every moment in time is so precious and music is showing you that. You can play the dopest beat that you have or the song that you love the most, and you can replay it every time you replay it, it's going to be a different time. It's a different moment in time. Every time that you replay it, it's the same song, the same time signature, but every time it's going to be different. Why is that important? Because if you can recognize that with music and what you're doing as far as your passion with your love for music, if you can understand that look, yes, I came here to learn about velocities, but this dude is talking about something as far as time, space. And if you can see that, I hope that it opens your eyes. I hope that you actually have a different way of perceiving the world, because from that, you will understand that every moment in time is so precious. I can never replay it. Every moment in my life journey is a freestyle. Every moment in my life journey as I walk is an improvisation, because I have not walked this before. I have not been here in this life before. I have not been in this human experience before. So I'm walking just like that ticking of that time signature, that click track. I'm walking seconds of my life, and everything that I do is precious. Every moment, every way that I move, and every way that I do what I do, whether it's a mess up, a mistake, or as a whatever you want to call it, it's still precious. It's precious, like it's a freestyle, because I don't have the book on how to do it. I don't have the book on how to be Taurus. I'm living, I'm doing it, I'm being Taurus. And I get to know who I am by moving through time, space. I know it's a lot, fam. And no, I didn't intend to give you all that in this. And you'll probably hear me repeat it several times over in other videos. Why? Because this, like I said, that's the biggest impression that I've gotten in my life journey, especially now. With this loss of my eyesight, that's the biggest impression on my life. Everything is so precious. The music is so precious. Everything that I'm doing is so every second is so precious. And I've been missing it. But once I can see that every second, just like in this song, every expression in this piano freestyle, just like I treat them as precious, my life, every second, every person that I meet, every person that I communicate with, my family, everything around me is precious. And I can say that I see and I perceive and understand it now. So I live it differently. You see what I'm saying? It's the expressions are different now. I express differently now. Hope that helps you. Please let me know if it does. Or if it does not, I'll take that too. Let me continue on, fam. So now that we've actually gone through, I've gone through now and I've changed all those velocities. Now I can listen to that one's pretty hard. Okay, now I'm going to do something right here, and I'm going to show you what I was talking about earlier about sometimes it's not necessarily the velocity that's causing the ear piercing or you know, the harshness. It's really the frequency of the note that's being played, especially on piano. You can find this out in piano a lot. I also find this, I can take the same track and move it up in a violin, and I can hear the same thing where certain frequencies, even in the violin, it depends on the instrument. Sometimes that frequency is just so ear piercing, and I find that it's not the velocity that was being struck, it's actually just the frequency of the note. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about here just briefly, so you can understand a little bit more. Okay, so let's take it from there. All right, so here is the actual piano, and we're going to look at the frequencies. So you see right there, Okay, so that frequency around like 500, I'm looking at like 560, somewhere in there. Now, I'm not an expert as far as frequencies. I'm not trying to be, but I'm just telling you what I've discovered over time is just by looking at some of the things that I've done and just looking at it like that particular frequency it really is sharp. It's like, I don't fully understand why I got to look it up. I always suggest that, as you learn more things about what you're doing by delving in, like music theory and frequencies and EQing and all that type of stuff. I'm still learning as I go. And I'm learning like, some of these piano frequencies, they're just harsh anyway. But, this is the thing. This is why I always suggest when you're making your stuff and you're trying to do everything yourself, sometimes really you just got to hand it off to somebody who knows better than you or knows more than you or someone who's specialized in that. Like, I'm going to take this to one of my friends who's a sound person, and I'm just going to ask them. I'm going to really hit them up as far as, look, help me with this as far as understanding how this all works frequency-wise. So I'll come back with a video on that one. But like I said, just recognizing that. When I listen to it, I keep noticing. You see, I can notice that it's not even the velocity that's being hit. Sometimes that frequency is right above there, 560, 570 somewhere. That da-da-da is a particular note. And that note, no matter what you do, you got to watch out for it. You got to watch out for it as far as piercing through and be an ear pierce. You got to always dampen it in some kind of way. So that's just one of the things that I've noticed too. And sometimes this is what I'm suggesting. Just take a look at the frequencies and look at what's happening there. As far as your velocities, that's one thing. But remember, your frequencies as far as what's being hit, what's being played, pay attention to those too. All right, so we've hit that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out by giving you kind of like the context here. Again, thank you for stopping by and checking out this video. Thank you for supporting me as far as watching and, being a part of the channel. If you have not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you like what it is that I'm doing, not only subscribe, but hit the notification bell so you can get these videos when I put them up immediately. Also, be sure to like, comment, and share. Love your comments. Love to hear what you think. Take care of yourself. Until next time, grace and peace.